You likely heard over the weekend that I believe you already know, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals told the trial court in the Flynn hearing that Judge Emmet Sullivan, the writ of mandamus was filed by the attorneys for Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, Sidney Powell. The D.C. Circuit Court actually gave Judge Emmet Sullivan, the trial court in the Flynn case, the opportunity to explain himself. Why is it you won't do the only legal thing you have in front of you that you're allowed to do, which is to dismiss the charges based on the DOJ's withdrawal of charges? And the D.C. Circuit actually offered him the opportunity to explain to them what he's doing. And in a very odd move for a D.C. judge, this is a federal court judge, he himself, Judge Emmet Sullivan, hired an attorney, Beth Wilkerson, apparently very well known within D.C. Circuit. She's represented many high-profile people, represented Judge Kavanaugh, and now Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh. But the bizarre thing is, there's not much she could really be doing. I was kind of racking my brain over the weekend thinking, what is it she would be telling them? You know, she's either going to be telling them that she's just trying to protect the judge so that she's going to make sure he does not encounter disciplinary proceedings, which he should. She may be thinking that there's some argument that we're going to have that there's no rationale at all, but you shouldn't punish this guy. She may be even thinking, and I'm going to tell you the reason I think Sullivan's doing all this at this point, Judge Emmet Sullivan, I think he has either been threatened, he's made a political promise, he's been bribed. There's nothing that explains his behavior in the rational practice of law. So the first oddity was that the appellate court, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, allowed Judge Emmet Sullivan to explain himself why he is not doing his job. The second oddity was that Judge Emmet Sullivan chose to hire this very high-flying attorney, Beth Wilkinson. And the third thing, and my third point today, to wrap up today's first five, you probably saw the announcement that Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, has announced he's actually going to do an internal study. He's going to figure out what happened inside the FBI. He's doing an internal review. And all I wanted to say on that topic related to Judge Emmet Sullivan is this. It does not matter what Christopher Wray uncovers inside the FBI. It does not matter if he looks into this, thoroughly speaks to every person and announces that the DOJ was exactly right, that charges should have been withdrawn. This is that they behave horribly. It doesn't matter if he comes out with exactly the opposite or anything in the middle. Whatever, but I'm concerned that the timing that the FBI Director Wray announced, hey, I'm going to do this internal review after all of what we know, all that has been uncovered in the media, that now for the first time, Wray is saying, I'm going to really dive in here and do an internal review. Should have been done a long time ago. I'm a little bit worried it's a setup. I'm worried that this attorney, Beth Wilkinson, is going to argue to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, why don't we hold off on this a little bit? Let's just see what Wray comes up with. Maybe Judge Emmet Sullivan has something here. I don't know that. That's my legal speculation. But I will say, again, no matter what Wray comes up with respect to what happened inside the FBI, there is no basis in law for Judge Emmet Sullivan to refuse to dismiss the charges against Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. No basis at all. It is his only choice. And so, as I said last week on this, if the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals cannot find its way toward doing what the law requires, they also become suspect as to what their thinking and reasoning is, why they wouldn't just simply grant the writ of mandamus filed by Sidney Powell, Flynn's attorney, and order this judge to dismiss the charges. And that, my friends, is today's First Five.